Hey, and welcome back to another exciting episode of Extra Feature Entertainment. We have a fabulous writer, director, actor, probably even does magic tricks on the side. This guy does it all. I have Petrie Winkink here. Welcome. And his film Krisper. Sorry, don't want to forget that.
Thank you. Thanks for having me, Simon.
So let's start at the beginning. Since I can see you on video and people haven't seen the film yet, hopefully you do watch the film before you come and listen to this fabulous interview that's commencing right now. How long did it take you to grow your hair out? Because you got like short hair now.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I was booked to shoot a movie in Austria, and for that film, they really wanted long hair. So I had a few months to grow out my hair for that film, and then COVID hit, and that film was delayed. So my hair continued to grow for another 6 months until we got to shoot that film, and then by the time Krisper was scheduled after the film in Austria, it had grown really pretty long, out of control.
So how did you feel? Did you have like were you going with the long hair and CRISPR or were you going to take it off or you didn't know what the plan was?
Well, the plan was that it suits the kind of like nerdy kind of
It
scientist character.
actually does.
And, and so that was the original plan. And now watching it in hindsight and looking at it and everything, I'm sitting there thinking, well, maybe it was just a tiny bit too long. Like I could have I could have had long hair that suits the character without it coming down past my shoulders.
Okay, just personal opinion watching it, I really felt you were doing a impression of Doc from Back to the Future.
Oh, yes, yes, I could see that.
And I'm not
Like
saying
a
you're because you're
younger
creating
version.
things, he creates things. You're a little more better than he is, I think.
Maybe, yeah. Well, he created Time Machine, which is also pretty impressive, though.
He's not sure he did. He didn't want to talk about it. So remember that.
True, true, true. I
So
was
let's
talking about it the whole time, yeah.
I want to start at the beginning. Like your relationship with your wife, I would say you wrote very different than your relationship with CRISPR. And I think we see that very early on. That you definitely send me I like the term family dynamics. I think that's actual proper for this. So when you were casting this, did you have that in mind, the look of CRISPR and the relationship you wanted before you like I mean obviously you're writing, I know that, but did you know you're casting what you were gonna cast to people or is that later?
Yeah, I had a pretty good idea of what I wanted and what I was looking for. And I'm very pleased and proud with the two girls that we found. Because they really smashed it. They both went above and beyond and delivered such great performances. And with a piece like this, it's so character and story driven that without believable and real performances, the whole thing just doesn't really work. So yeah, I'm glad you picked up on that.
So let's go. Did you work on CRISPR to speak in a certain tone, or did she come in like that instantly?
No, she came like that, and she worked with her acting coach to fine tune that, and also to map out the growth or that the character goes through from her because she has such a rapid growth and she's learning so much so quickly. Her and her acting teacher went into great detail mapping that performance out as it progresses.
And your wife becomes more manic, obviously, as the film goes on. Like you see that. I mean, you're immune to everything. I understood that you just don't see anything as your character, but that's fine.
Blah.
So,
Yeah.
how did you have to adapt as an actor to all that? 'Cause, I mean, you're the main focal point of the film. And I find you have to act with Christopher a certain way, and you have to act your wife a certain way. And then your family, I find you're a little more ping pong ball all over the place.
Yes, it's true. Yeah, it's astute observation. Um, yeah, I mean, in terms of my performance, also directing it at the same time, I would be setting up the scene and setting up the shots, and then I would only have to myself about, sort of 15 or 20 seconds before we jump into the scene for me to just sort of like put all the directing stuff to a
Right.
side center myself, and then who am I? What am I doing? What's happening in the scene? All of that. So it was a stretch and tough, but I'm glad that we got the result that we did.
Well, that's what I'm wondering. I mean, how much pressure is it on you? I mean, you've written it, so obviously you know what you want, but you have two actors that are working on just their parts, and you have other rotating parts of actors around. So, I mean, a director, I don't know if it's your first film or not. I mean, you're focused, you're ready, and then you're like, action, and you got to jump. Did that
Yes.
cause you some issues at times? Or, I mean, you're just a perfectionist, so no issues?
Um, no, it was definitely a strain. I lost a huge amount of weight during the production because I was, 4 hours of sleep and like skipping meals and just like pulling my hair out. And, my health really deteriorated over those few weeks, because of the immense pressure and the stress. And by the end of it, I was delirious. You're asking me questions and I'm just like, all I'm seeing is like a red mist and like I'm feeling dizzy and
I can believe it. So maybe
yeah.
that did help with your character, because I would say your character's filming that by the end.
Actually, it did translate into the arc of the character. So yeah, again, it kind of worked in my favor in that way. Yeah.
Okay, I'm
But
going to be a little bit nicer to you now. We're going to discuss your film. No more character. You can take a break. Less manic. When you're starting off the beginning, you show me a house and a cabinet. Are they two different places or the same place?
uh, well, the beginning of the film, he's in the apartment in
It is
LA.
an apartment. I did write apartment and I scratched out because the way you shot it, it looks bigger than I thought it was. So I switched it. Is it a ground floor apartment then? Is that why I was confused?
It's a ground floor, but it's a two-story. It's actually a
Ah,
townhouse.
okay. So it was,
Yes.
so I was right house. I did get it right. Okay.
Yeah. There's an upstairs and downstairs, but
Yes,
that part's in LA, and then they go on the drive up into the mountains, and then the
for the
rest is
cabin.
yeah, exactly. The cabin.
Okay.
Yep.
How did you get those locations?
Well, the first location, the apartment was my neighbor's apartment. And so for a production, we used my place as a base for the crew and holding and everything. And then my neighbor, excuse me, was very kind and let us shoot in his place for a day. And he has much nicer, more expensive furniture, and it looks just a lot more professional. Our place was a was a bit of a tip of, especially with the whole crew there as well. So that one was my neighbors, and then the cabin in the mountains that we found originally over Airbnb. And then we negotiated with him outside of Airbnb. We got in contact sneakily, and he was a very keen enthusiast of indie film, and so he gave us a big discount and gave us a couple of extra days to shoot for free, and was very supportive. He even wanted to be in it. We shot a little scene with him, but we didn't end up using it. But he was loving it.
So, as a director and having 2 extra days, did that make you happy? It must have.
Oh, yeah, we needed it. We were filming until 10 p.m. on the very last day, until we
Wow.
had to get out. Like we just got all the shots in. Yeah, it was tight.
Okay. I'm going to go back to the dinner scene. I want to know who made the dinner and the Christmas dinner. You have two big meals in this movie. So, the same person make both meals or not?
Yeah. Yeah. And I really wanted a turkey for the Christmas dinner because, it looks so ideal. We get it straight away. But we filmed it in January and we sent out people all over the town looking for a turkey. But it turns out after Thanksgiving and Christmas, there's literally no turkeys to be had anywhere. Like they're
That is
just gone.
correct.
They're
It's
done.
everywhere. It's not
Yeah.
just there.
Yeah, I had no idea that would be an issue, but they came back with the ham, and I said that'll do, that'll have to do. So it worked out. Yeah,
You're an indie filmmaker. You don't get a lot of choice.
yeah, exactly. We roll with it. We roll with what we got.
So, who made those dinners? Was that catering or was that somebody special?
Well, we were all kind of it was kind of a skeleton crew, and we were all wearing different multiple hats. And so our drone operator was also our caterer and our chef, both for the
Interesting.
both for the cast and crew, and also for the props, for the prop food. The food in the dinner scenes. So
So
we were
that's
very.
fake food on the plates 'cause it looks good.
No, it was real food. And I think some of it was eaten after the scenes were shot.
Oh, I'm sure.
Yeah, so I'm sure that was eaten by the crew afterwards. But yeah, it was real. Yeah.
Okay. When Krisper starts watching TV, I mean, there are a couple scenes she's watching TV. Are you using, how are you filming that? Because you're showing me multiple TV shows. Are these all free TV shows or you're just sort of cheating?
You mean in terms of the copyright?
Yes.
Oh yeah. Well, we used some bits that were questionable. But it's such a small amount, and it's not even on the whole screen. It's, a screen within the screen, and it's only just tiny, really short little clips that, I feel like if we're getting lawsuits, then at that point it no longer matters anyway because that many people are seeing it that it's got that much exposure that we've already done our jobs and that's no longer a problem. So if I have to clear it at that point, then those tiny little clips, then so be it. But by then, I would have made so much on it from the exposure that it's not going to be a problem. So I just,
Perfect.
yeah.
Pacing of your film. I wanted to, how you paced it. I mean, it's very slow, then you go super fast, then you slow down, and then you have a big explosion, obviously, because you need one for the end. So, how was that writing process for you? Did you have problems writing that, or you could just foresee it the whole time?
Um, you know, The first draft was almost exactly what you see. The first draft was actually longer. It was about 100 pages, and when we put the assembly cut, we laid down the assembly cut. It was over 2.5 hours, and
Wow.
yeah, and I was looking at this, and I'm just like, this is way too long. We need to. So we lifted a couple of entire scenes that were good, and we spent a lot making those scenes, um, but it was just too long, and so. I think that helped with the pacing to just sort of speed it up, and I really didn't want to make a film that was over 2 hours. I wanted to keep it moving along. And so, yeah, that helped with that. It's just lifting a couple of scenes.
Okay. So just because I wanted to know, what did I miss? What were the two scenes I missed?
Well, there was another dinner scene where we get a greater glimpse, we get a more understanding of Crisper's progress and her intelligence, and we go further into the backstory of Walter, who plays my father, and his career as a politician. And so Krisper kind of displays her. She's doing all this research on the internet, and she's looking everyone up, and she gives a compliment to my father and his political career. And so that was one of the scenes. And then there was another scene at the end where it's revealed that what was it? Frederic was actually adopted or something. No, there was an adultery by Matthew's sister, my sister, Matthew's wife, and that the baby wasn't actually his or something like that.
Oh,
And
wow.
this was also in the climax, but the climax was already quite long, and so the editor lifted it, and then when we watched that cut, we found that it kind of works without it, and
I
so
would
we
say
went, cool.
yes. I'm watching the film. I have to agree with both
Yeah,
cuts
yeah,
because
yeah.
I really think your pacing is perfect on the sense you teach me how CRISPR learns, and you're constantly reinforcing that and adding another dinner scene with Chris. You're right.
Not
It was not
necessary.
needed. I agree.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay. Now we go up north to this beautiful cabin, and I've never seen this, and I want to get into this. You took your crew outside continuously. How is filming outside in the snow in January?
It's fun. We we had a good time. I mean, we were like having snowball fights, and playing around with the drone and stuff. The drone footage was so crisp and so fun to see that. Those beautiful shots. And then with us as well, like walking in the forest and playing around on the lake and stuff. Um, and that scene where it's just me and Chloe arguing on the lake. Um, that was originally written for sort of in the garden. But then when we got to the location, it was the first time I had been there. I'd sent a crew out to scout it, but it was the first time that I'd been there. And then when I saw that platform out into the lake with the mountains and everything, I was just like, oh my God, this is the perfect location for that scene. And it just looks so great.
Okay, yeah, you took it right out. I was getting there later. I gotta say that mountain shot is probably my favorite shot in this whole film.
Thank you. Yeah, it's a great scene, especially with the argument and the kind of the twisting of the narrative that's happening when you find out that that it's part of they took their DNA to use to make CRISPR, and then the mountains with the drone
Oh,
shot.
I thought it was breathtaking. I will honestly tell you, I nothing against your film. I was looking at that shot, just going, "Wow." I even stopped the film to look at that shot because I wanted it quiet and just to enjoy. I love the clouds or whatever. It was just a beautiful shot. And the time of day you shot it, I don't think you could have shot it better.
Thank you so much. Appreciate that. Thank you. Yeah.
So yeah, I do know the shot you're talking about. So the snow was not cold then. It wasn't that cold in January then, from what I'm understanding here.
I mean, it was cold, but we had such a willing and keen crew, and no one really was complaining. And there was the fight scene at the end of the movie, the outside fight scene, and that was at night, and so that
Yes.
with weather, it was snowing and windy, and so that was the coldest that they ever were, and it was worse for Krisper because she was in this little dress and
Yes.
with just tights on and stuff, and in between takes we would all rush in and throw sleeping bags and like wrap her up. Um, but yeah, that was the most cold that we experienced on the set. And then we had lights that went out, the batteries just went and everything. And it was the first day, and I was just so stressed and pulling my hair out, and I was just like, how am I gonna do this? How am I gonna do this? But yeah.
Okay. You brought up Crispers. I want to discuss Crispers outfits because I think you always have them with stuff on them, though dots or something. Some of them I can't tell because you're hiding them. I don't know if it's the same outfit twice or you're just hiding things, but she's always got stuff going on in all her outfits.
Yeah.
Was that your purpose or was that the actors bringing that stuff to them?
That was me working with the girl who was helping with costume design.
Okay.
Um, and I really wanted to kind of show Crispa's um, choosing her own clothes and dressing her own in her own kind of style, which would be looking through Chloe's closet and just picking out the sort of more colorful and vibrant things that stand out. She's sort of trying to all the way through. She's vying for the attention of Elijah, and she kind of does that also by taking Chloe's clothes.
So that was the plan to dress your wife dimmer. Like she doesn't have a lot of color, but
Right.
Chloe's constantly with color, I would say,
Yeah.
throughout the film.
Yeah.
And she
Exactly.
does stand out more for me for that reason, because I do notice the color on her constantly.
Interesting. Interesting. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, there's a shot you do in the bedroom after a big, I don't know what I wrote here, on the couch. So it looks like you guys are at the bedroom door and your DP is down below shooting almost up. It's like a full body shot. Do you know the shot I'm talking about?
Not the exact one. No.
Okay, it's shot in the bedroom. You
Uh-huh.
have a big fight. You have a fight. There's a couch in the room, and it looks like the DP's almost on the floor, and you're shooting up. It's near the last third of the film. I want to
Uh-huh.
know how you decided to shoot that scene that way.
Is it the scene where
It's you and your wife talking.
uh-huh. And okay. Is it the scene where she has just vomited because of the pregnancy?
Yes, it'll be right
Okay,
around there.
right around there, yeah. Um,
It was a very different shot for the film. I found the DP was very low, and you're almost showing me full body shots, which you haven't done all film. Crisper to me, I
oh,
don't ever see a full body shot till near the end of the film.
uh-huh.
And the only
Yes,
time you ever throw another full body shot is usually around the table seats.
right, right, right.
So I want to know why you chose that shot.
I think I know the one you mean. Is it the one where we're framed in the doorway?
Yes, yes,
Yes.
yes. It's
Okay, okay,
exactly
yeah.
it.
Yes, yes, yes. Well, the doorway framing was kind of the reason for that shot, because we're seeing a frame within a frame, and
Yes,
that gives us an extra sort of depth to what
yes.
we're looking at. And that I believe that was the reason that the DP decided to shoot it like that way. Yeah, he's actually from in shooting from in the bathroom, and that's the bathroom
Aha.
door. And we're looking into the bedroom right as they reconciliate, and
Yes,
we
you
have this
got it.
long. Yeah, I know exactly. Yeah, so it
Now,
was that double framing effect.
was that your plan to give us a different shot? Because you've never used that shot before. I would argue the mountain shot's very similar, but not because you're doing a wide shot to get the mountain in. And this
Hmm.
time you almost take the mountain shot and give me that framing shot.
Yeah,
So were
yeah.
you trying to parallel the two shots?
I was not personally, because my directing duties were about telling the story and working with the actors about performances. And then, the technical and the shooting aspect of it was under the responsibility of my co-director, and he's also the DP. So he was DP and co-director, and I put just a lot of trust. I spent a long time, finding this guy, and just choosing who I wanted to work with on that. And my feeling is that he he didn't have a huge eye for the overall picture of this, and all he was looking at is scene by scene, how can I make this the most interesting for right now, without really regarding the bigger picture and the thematic style throughout the whole film. He's just sort of scene by scene, what's the best way that and the best way I can make this look good.
Okay, from there I find the rest of the film you go to a series of long shots. For the first time, I find you've taken me away from a lot of close-ups, a lot of close talking to big family shots, big open the room shots. Is that because Crisper's world is opening, or you're just setting me up for something different at the end?
Um, that wasn't really for any intentional reason that I know. Again, I think it's just, my partner, my filming partner, just making a choice right there and then for what he thinks is best for how to shoot it, and then he would bring that to me, and I would say, yeah, okay, fine, whatever you think is best,
Just do
and I'm,
it.
just don't bother me right now.
I got it. I'm just giving you
Yeah,
options to discuss your film. That's why.
yeah, yeah.
Who decorated the Christmas tree?
We had a production designer who was also sort of a prop master. Again, he was
Uh-huh.
wearing two hats, and he made the science box, and he decorated the tree, and he was also the one fiddling with the lights back then when we have that shot of the Christmas tree and the lights are flicking in.
Yes.
And it's a symbolic shot of Christmas dying. It's basically to show Christmas dying, with the lights being interfered with.
Okay, the garage full of stuff. I guess it was just there when you got there.
Yeah, exactly. Originally, I had written that scene for I think it was a basement or an attic or something like that. But then, we had a look in the attic and it was just completely not practical at all. Um, and it was just, yeah, so it was a clear choice to go into the garage, and that was where we had all the stuff, and then all the stuff that she could potentially use to make weapons and poison and bombs and whatever she's.
She was busy. Working with blood. How did you enjoy that?
Yeah, good. We had our makeup girl create some, and she was there constantly making more. I actually still have a bottle of it here, you know, which is left over. But yeah, it was not edible, and quite a bit of it went in my mouth and was ingested, and that
Ooh,
wasn't that nice. But but yeah, I feel like she got a decent look for the blood. It wasn't exactly perfect how, I would like it to look, but it was pretty good. And then we also got one of those um it's like a blood patch that you can
yeah.
have made, and you put it on the floor, and it's hard. It's dry. It's not wet. And but it looks really good. And so we had one of those and put it down under my sister's Caitlin's head after she falls down the stairs, to keep the carpet from being stained.
Okay, I promise you we're getting to the end. I want to go back to the big fight scene in the snow.
Mm.
Did you choreograph that at all, or you just kind of knew what you wanted?
Yeah, we rehearsed that with Krisper, and Krisper, she has a fair amount of stunt fight experience, and so I worked with her and the other actor, excuse me, to rehearse that fight at the end there, and it wasn't exactly as strong as what I saw in my head, but the conditions of the night that we were filming, like I said, was so cold and so terrible, and like we got one or two takes, and then the producers and everyone was just like, okay, we can't do
Yeah.
anymore. Like the lights are going, the cold and everything. It's just, in fact, we had to pull some of the cars around and open their full beams, point it on the scene, and
Wow.
that's how we had to light that fight scene at the end. And you can actually see where the shadow of the bank cuts off the light around the actor's legs.
It
So,
does. I do know
yeah,
exactly what you're talking about.
so yeah, there's a bit of a shadow there, but you don't. It's not that noticeable, and we can get it. It's indie, we have to get away with what we can.
Okay. Is there going to be a CRISPR 2? And you know why I'm asking that. If you've seen the film, there is a question there.
Well, yes, I left that open because, just in case there's a lot of public demand and everyone's like, what happens next? And like, where does she go? And what else does she learn? And, at that point, I can definitely write a sequel. So I left that open for that reason. Yeah. And I also like the idea of ending a story where there's a lot of open possibilities, and the audience is left thinking, well, she's out there somewhere in the forest, she could just turn up somewhere, or there could be more to that.
Okay. Time for three fun questions. They're really easy. You can't prepare for these unless you listen to an interview. And if you haven't, that's your fault. Favorite film?
I would say Fight Club and The Matrix are my favorite films.
Two perfect films. I have no issues. Your favorite
Perfect.
film?
Go
Favorite
ahead.
film of 2024?
Oh, I really liked Stranger Darling,
Great film. Strange Darling. Loved
Strange
the
Darling.
ending. Love
So
that
good,
film.
right?
Did not know where that was going. And then
Oh my God.
I was trying to
So
piece it together. They set me up for one thing. I'm like, I know there's a twist here. I just don't know what it is yet. Because it's not in order. That's why I like that film. It's all chopped. And that's why it works so well.
brilliant. Really smart writing. Really smart. Yeah.
I love the writing. One film you recommend that people don't normally have heard about.
I would recommend a film called Upgrade. It's on Netflix, and I stumbled across it.
Great film. Actually, I
You
have
seen
seen
it?
it.
Yeah.
Well, it came
Okay.
out a few years ago.
Like a few years ago, yeah, actually,
I
and
like it a lot.
it really surprised me, and it flew straight under my radar. I had no idea. I stumbled across it, and I was like, "Oh my!" The filming style and the story and the action and the way they put it all together, they shot that. It was really, really impressive. Yeah.
Okay, what's the next thing we expect from you? And tell everybody where they can find your stuff.
So at the moment, I just finished writing another kind of single location sci-fi horror thriller, and it's called The Cuckoo's Nest. And it's a big metaphor for brood parasites. There's a big twist at the end, and it's about brood parasitism. And so right now I'm taking that out. I've just finished the script. I'm going to be taking that out to companies and producers and looking for people to get involved with that with. So hopefully that will move into production this year. And Krisper can be seen on Tubi and Amazon and a bunch of other streaming places. It's also getting foreign licensing deals and stuff like
Oh,
that.
excellent. Thank you for your time and have a great day.
Thank you so much, Simon. That was super fun.